Hi there, I'm Grant, and today we're working on a 1989 Porsche 944 Turbo, and we're gonna bleed the brakes. I've changed the brake fluid recently, pedal's still kind of spongy. I'm gonna bleed the brakes again, hopefully, and get that sponginess out of the system. Starting off here, here's the brake fluid reservoir, also recently replaced, and I have my adapter for my Motive brake bleeder. So the adapter is all tight on here now, it's secure. I'll go over here. Here's my Motive brake bleeder, basically just a pressure tank with a pressure gauge. I'm gonna get that hooked up in a second. Got to plug in the adapter there. Just using some basic Valvoline synthetic .3 and 4 brake fluid. Here are the tools I'm gonna use today for this project, for this job. 11 millimeter wrench for the brake caliper bleeder screws on all the wheels. Then for the clutch slave cylinder bleeder screw, that's a 7 millimeter. As we go in, take off the engine cover if you've still got that. That's a 10 millimeter socket. For the starter, it's got two wires on there, two connections. You need a 9 millimeter and a 12 millimeter wrench to take those wires off. Remember to disconnect the battery first before you do that. And then to actually physically remove the starter, you need a 19 millimeter wrench and you need a 10 millimeter hex socket. Okay, my adapter's hooked up. You can see I got brake fluid in the line. Come down here to the pressure bleeder. I've got it aired up to 14 PSI. Bleeding the brakes, starting off, always start with the brake caliper that is farthest away from the brake master cylinder. And that's typically your right rear wheel. Here we are, we're hooked up, right rear wheel. Got my 11 millimeter wrench on here. Got just a short tube going into just a catch container here. And then we're gonna get going. I've got pressure on the system, as we saw already. Let's let it go. And I'm gonna open up a little bit farther. And we're looking for some air bubbles to come out, letting us know that we've got any remaining or any trapped air that's in the system out. Looking good, we got fluid moving. I put this fluid in a few weeks ago. It's pretty clean. I really just need to get the air out that's trapped in there. Okay, we're still on the right rear caliper, the wheel caliper, and I've got it hooked up to the inside bleeder screw. You can see you've got one bleeder screw on the outside, and then we're gonna work our way in. Now we're gonna do the one on the inside. Same thing, we're just gonna open it up a little bit. Let's get it going there. Okay. Loosen up some more. Going. And we'll wait till we get all the bubbles out of there. Usually doesn't take very long on the inside bleeder screw. Okay, we are on the left rear wheel now, taking the bleeder screw caps off, covers, and you can normally just take these completely off, get them out of your way. Outside one, get the inside one. Just carefully stretch it over the bleeder screw, and that'll be out of your way. Put the 11 on here. All right, hooking up our line to the catch cam, and here we got it. Plenty open to make sure any trapped air is coming out. Also, make sure while you're doing this, periodically check the Motive pressure bleeder. Make sure the pressure is above 10 PSI. Like I said, I started at 15, and I usually let it go down to about 11 or 10, and that's when I go and pump it back up some more. We're looking good. Okay, we are on the third wheel now. This is the right front brake caliper, right front wheel. We started with the right rear, the farthest away from the master cylinder. Moved a little bit closer with the left rear caliper, left rear wheel. Now we're on the right, back across the car to the right front wheel. Got my bleeder line on the outside bleeder screw, and let's get rid of some more air in here. There we go. get it open up plenty, help the pressure, get some speed, get the air bubbles out. This one doesn't take as long. We're pretty close to the master cylinder now. There's just not as much line between here and the master cylinder as there was, or there is with the rear brakes. Okay, we are on the left front wheel now, the final wheel. Outside bleeder screw. Remember, make sure you do the outside bleeder screw first, then move to the inside bleeder screw. Okay, we'll get this one going, and then we'll wrap up here pretty quick. I finished up bleeding the brake fluid from the wheel calipers. All 4 wheels are done. I'm happy with the way the brake pedal feels right now. Pretty solid. I'm gonna move on and do the clutch master cylinder and slave cylinder as well. We've already got the brake fluid out. We've got the power bleeder hooked up. Everything is set. We might as well. It's another, while you're in there, might as well do it. Again, I just did this a couple weeks ago, but I'm gonna go ahead and just redo it while I'm here anyway, just to make sure. First thing, you gotta disconnect you gotta remove the starter on this. Actually, so first thing is, when you're disconnecting wires, is disconnect the negative terminal of your battery to make sure you don't have any sparks or any short circuits right there. All right, we're underneath the car now. You can see this is where the starter goes. I've got the starter removed. There's the back of the bell housing. You see the starter gear ring and the pressure plate from the clutch. Those are all the starter wires up just above that. Here's our clutch slave cylinder. I've got my wrench on it already, and I got a little bit of leakage there. I need to make sure that's tight this time. And I'll put my line on it, and then we'll start bleeding that. Okay, I finished bleeding all the brakes, all 4 calipers, finished bleeding the clutch slave cylinder. I'm happy with the pedals, they're firm, both pedals are firm. I've topped off the brake fluid reservoir, tightened the cap. I've got my wires connected now. And remember, this is the same reservoir has the fluid for the brake system, and this is the line going to the clutch master cylinder under there. Got all connected. Starter is reinstalled, the 2 wires are hooked up on it underneath the car, and then finally reconnect your negative battery terminal to the battery, and you're all set.